so fortunate to have Mara Flynn with us here today. She is the director of children's ministry at the First Religious Society Unitarian Universalist Church in Newburyport, Mass., and the lead educator at the Theater in the Open. Her album, Good Hands, was released on Burst and Bloom Records and is available on Spotify. Take it away, Mara.
Welcome. Thank you so much. It is lovely to be here with all of you and all of you. The song I'm going to play is called Good Hands. When I wrote this song, I was thinking about the phrase, "you're in good hands." And I wanted to explore all the different ways that good hands can show up in our lives, and the release of surrendering to that. So here it goes. Thank you.
Oh, that was fantastic. Thank you so much, Mara. Oh, what an incredible sound. And what a great way to start our morning.
Mara actually was our December 2016 Creative Mornings speaker on the theme of sound, and you can see why after listening to that. Thank you, Mara, for being here and for so beautifully starting our event this morning. Every Creative Mornings chapter around the world is speaking on a specific theme. The themes are chosen by chapters. A chapter gets selected to nominate the theme. And this is a really special month for our chapter because we selected the theme of release for this month. We also got to put in front of the headquarters team a list of illustrators that we thought might be good to represent the artwork component for our monthly theme. And this month's artwork, which you're looking at on your screen, which so beautifully captures the spirit of our particular location and the theme of release, is Allie Runyon. And Allie is actually here with us this morning. I'm not sure if Allie, can you unmute?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
We can. Fantastic.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me. It was so much fun working on this. A lot of my work, I think, is inspired by this area, so it was just perfect with the theme of release. I've just been, through the last year and a half, just really taking in this beautiful area that we live in, and it's just been to get away from computers and screens. There's so many little hidden gems in our area to go out and de-stress. So that was really my thoughts behind the image, and yeah, thank you again for having me here.
Sure. Can you, because this is a little bit of a window into how the process works, and surprisingly, the headquarters team really takes the art component and works directly with you, the illustrator or the artist, and then distributes it to all the chapters. Did they give you like guidance, or did you have free reign to create anything you wanted, or how did that process work?
Yeah, I was able to kind of interpret the word release however I wanted, and I presented 3 sketches to them, and this is the one that they chose. They didn't have too much feedback, but I was really kind of channeling our area, even though it was a global theme. So I guess they wanted it to be relatable to other cities. Yeah.
That makes sense. Do you have anything exciting that you're working on right now?
I'm really focusing on greeting cards right now. So I'm doing a lot of licensing, and I have several cards in Trader Joe's. So if you're there and buying their affordable cards, thanks. Yeah, it's very fun.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your beautiful contribution and for all the good work and the love that you put out into the world by creating such beautiful illustrations and pieces of art. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate. We look forward to seeing where your career takes you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So that brings us to introducing the panel, which is the main sort of discussion part of this morning's event.
I'm gonna exit.
Monty's going to go have a seat at the panel while I do the intro here. A couple of things I wanted to acknowledge first. One was that Courtney Marshall was going to be here this morning leading some movement and Zumba and getting our bodies moving. And she is sadly at a funeral today. And I just wanted to let her know that our greater community is thinking about her and holding space for her. Anna Grazier was also supposed to be here this morning and had to cancel at the very last minute this morning due to the fact that her cafe worker, who was her opener, she opened a cafe in Exeter and a chocolate, had to call out for a personal emergency, so that left her as a small business owner as the one to come in and rescue and open up her shop. So she also, unfortunately, cannot be here. But we do have 2 incredible panelists. We call them the All-Stars because they have participated in Creative Mornings in the past. We have 2 past speakers joining us today for a discussion on the theme of release. which we chose and we're very excited about talking about. We feel like it couldn't be more perfect, especially as we've all endured so much through the pandemic. Courtney Daniel is with us this morning. She actually gave a talk in 2019 on the theme of flow, and she's a creative strategist and a stationery designer. And a really cool little micro project she's working on right now. She is hosting a school supply drive, which is happening on August 25th in conjunction with Portsmouth Community Radio. Their goal is to collect 1,000 supplies. You can learn more at wscafm.org. Thank you, Courtney, for doing that. And our other panelist this morning is Jeff Stern. Jeff was actually one of our very first speakers in 2016. I think he was March or April, maybe spring, but the first 6 months of our chapter being in existence, Jeff took the stage very bravely to talk on the theme of reality and his concept of doing a digital fast, which piqued curiosity and actually got him onto the global Creative Morning stage. His talk got a lot of interest and sparked a lot of dialogue. He is a filmmaker and a professor, and he actually has a new film that is touring in film festivals right now called This Fog, and it will be making its New Hampshire debut in October. You can find out more about Jeff at jeffsternmedia.com. And now I'm going to head over to the panel where we can start hearing from our guests on the theme of release. I'll see you in just a minute.
Oh, thanks, Noelle. Welcome. Thank you for being here, both of you, Courtney, Jeff. This is fantastic. It's really great to be here and to be in person and hanging out in my favorite room in the world. So wanted to get started with a couple of quick questions. Can you talk about one way that you release stress?
Yes. One way I release stress is dance. Through dance. I love to dance.
Dance. And Jeff?
I would say being outside with good people and maybe whiskey.
Never hurt.
Excellent. Never hurt.
So we're doing some rapid fire quick questions just to get our panelists warmed up.
Right.
A little into the flow.
Right.
Yeah.
And Jeff, going along with that whiskey theme, maybe there's a bad habit you'd like to quit?
What are you implying, Monty?
Nothing at all.
Bad habit I'd like to quit. I mean, in line with the talk I gave originally, I would say I still struggle with spending too much time on social media. It does me almost no good, and I should learn.
Yeah. And how about you, Courtney? Is there...
So, yeah, this is kind of getting a little personal, but one of my bad habits is crunching ice. Oh.
Is that a bad habit?
Yeah.
My kids think so.
Oh.
I support you.
Yeah.
Courtney, why do you is it like stress? Like, why do you crunch ice? Is it the sound? What do you think it is that brings you to it?
I don't know. It's just like one of those things. It could be like stress or, from work. Every time I'm sitting down at the computer, I have to have like a cup of ice. And if I don't have it, I would stop everything that I'm doing, go to the store, get a bag of ice, and so that I can proceed, with my work. Yeah.
All right. Well, I didn't realize that was a bad habit. I just thought it annoyed my wife. One song that gets you up and moving, gets you letting go or letting loose.
Oh, I love Planet Rock by African Bambaataa. And if you have not heard that song, I recommend that you do put it on. Nice. It will get you up out of anything that you're in. Yep.
Dig it. Awesome. Jeff?
I'm going to go with the jam of the summer, Levitating, Dua Lipa.
Nice.
Can't get enough.
Excellent.
That does get my kids up and going.
Yeah,
no problem.
Totally.
And actually, Courtney, this question, I was inspired to ask this question because during your talk, you had our audience get up and you put on Level Up and we all jammed and grooved. And it was one of the coolest things of my archive memory of Creative Mornings.
Thank you.
So, yeah. So that's also a good song, Level Up.
Yeah.
Nice. 'Cause, 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 'cause thinking about the theme of release, releasing expectations has been pivotal given the global pandemic. Can you share a little bit about how your creative pursuits have shifted given the pandemic and anything you've learned along the way? And this one you can take your time with if you want.
Sure, I can take this. So, I mean, I think it goes without saying that we all have to. We've had to rethink pretty much everything in the last year and a half, and I would even extend that further back to since Trump was elected. Not to get political, but it's kind of changed the way we look at everything. So a specific example I can think of in terms of how my approach to creativity and the kind of work that I've been doing, I feel like my work has become more local and like very local, meaning like my house, because when COVID hit and suddenly I have two young kids who were in second and fourth grade when COVID hit, you're forced into a completely different reality. I had to be there. My wife and I had to be their teachers, and we, you just sort of have to. This is your new world, and I think that's like if you define what creativity is, you can very broadly define it beyond like what we think of traditionally in the arts. It's kind of like problem solving. Like being creative is solving problems.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so I think one creative project that came about during the pandemic that I'm proud of was I created this game for my kids to play called Brockets, which really came about because I was not a very good math teacher for them, or so like it's sort of like what can I do for them
what
that
do I have to offer?
Yeah, like you got guys, I'm your teacher. You're stuck with me, so I'm not going to pretend I'm good at all these other things that your real teachers were good at. But I think this is something I can do, and it was also kind of selfishly motivated because I wanted to somehow make this really miserable situation fun and meaningful, and so I created this game called Brockets, and this was during what would have been March Madness. So we were all kind of feeling the lack of this communal sporting event that my family's really into, and my kids like making the brackets and all of that stuff. And so I made this game, Brockets, which is basically like March Madness for music, for like rock and pop and rap and just popular music. And, I populated it with 64 bands and artists, and I had my kids do it. And it was fun, I made rules for it, and it kind of took up a lot of our time. And so I decided to share it, and it got kind of a reaction from the community, and it became like a thing for a couple weeks. And I guess, sorry, I'll make a long story short. I think the thing I realized is that it was a different approach to creativity for me because it was very, very focused on just like an immediate need in my family. And it did not occur to me that it would be something that anyone else would be interested in or care about. And my usual approach to creativity is, how can I make something that's going to have mass appeal? It was like the opposite, kind of like the reverse engineered. And I feel like there was a good lesson in that. It was a more... I don't know. There was something more earnest about the process. So that's what came to mind with your question.
Great, thank you. That was fantastic, and I want to play that game.
Yes, it is. So I
on
will.
his website.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you're linking to it, right?
Yeah, I think it's probably in the chat there.
Yep.
Yeah,
Should
so
be in
it's-
the chat.
it's-
Stern Media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can find it there.
I'm
Rockets.
totally going to play that game.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And Courtney, to you, same question. Do you need me to repeat it?
No, I think I got the gist.
Okay.
I think I have the gist of it. So for me, when COVID happened and just shifting in my current business and what I do, which is as a personal assistant and executive assistant, I switched to virtual services. And for me, I'm usually out in the streets, running around, picking up, doing errands for clients. And when COVID happened, it's like you can't go inside of anyone's home. So I was like, I've been doing this, been in this industry for 15 plus years, how can I switch it to virtual and still service my clients on how I needed to service them? And that was the creative part for me. It's just you're pretty much doing all the services behind the computer now, but you don't have the interaction, which is what I was missing. I was missing that, just going to the house and having conversation. I was missing that part. So I found that to be the creative side, but then also too at the same time I'm this teacher of 3 kids. They're in 3 different grades, learning 3 different things, and trying to work from home as so I think I had to creatively gain the patience that I needed, to operate and
Very good
function.
point.
And everyone is like, you're here in this space, and now all of a sudden you don't have enough space for everyone to kind of branch out. You have, the Zoom meetings, and, everyone is here, and I'm trying to have a conference call. So it was, for me, just creating the patience to kind of deal with what was in front of me, at that time. So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I can empathize with having not enough rooms and too many children who all need to be on Zoom calls at the same time. Yeah.
Or having enough tech savvy to figure it all out, too, all
Right.
at the same time.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Or
Absolutely.
bandwidth.
Right, exactly.
Bandwidth.
Or coffee.
Yeah.
In all
All
concepts of the
those
word.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so our second question, actually, we posed this question to the global community as part of our descriptor of this month's theme. What happens when we let go of emotions, habits, or thoughts that no longer serve us? If one of you or both of you would be willing to share something that you have let go of and what happened as a result.
For me, I've just been able to let go of things that are out of my control. If I can't control it, I'm just like, okay, how do I proceed? How do I move to the next thing? Because I feel like once I put that energy into something that is not going to change, it's like permanent, it's already happening, I'm drained. And it's still going to remain the same regardless of how much energy I put there. So now I know that if it's going to be a permanent stop, to channel that energy in something that's going to, how can I change the situation, or how can I look at it differently or approach it differently? So I've been able to learn that and practice that, and I feel free. You can just move about. I can just move about. I can't control that. I'll put my energy here and continue to move forward. So
That's an amazing perspective. If your outcome is feeling free, it makes the hard work of letting go of whatever that piece is worth it to get to that point and that feeling. That's great. What about you, Jeff?
Yeah, I just want to very much agree with what Courtney said, and I feel like it ties back to what we were talking about in your first question. I mean, when you have everybody is in your house and there's these sort of immediate needs, and then there's all this stuff that's out of your control that you just have to let go. And at first you're like, no, I have to control everything all the time because that's what I do. If you're a control freak like me. But then there's that freedom where it's like, why? How can I possibly worry about something that is out of my control? And it does. It feels, in a weird way, it feels good. So if there's some kind of silver lining to this way we live now, it's kind of like this new clarity about what's really important and what you can really do. And so I'll just give another creative example. The film that I have recently completed, This Fog, was something that I shot back in 2019, way back in 2019, which wasn't even 2 years ago. And I was... there was a specific idea. There was a specific script for it. I was in the middle of editing it in right when COVID hit, right in early March of 2020. And COVID hit, and I didn't think about this thing I was editing or touch it for a full 6 months. And when I returned to it, it was so irrelevant. Whatever my ideas were or thoughts were about the world when I wrote that thing was just this doesn't work anymore. And it was that same thing of letting go. It's I can either abandon this or I can make it into something completely different. And I went through kind of mourning period where it was like, I'm never going to make that film that I thought I was making. You let that go, and then I just kind of sat with the footage and said, how can I make this into something that is about COVID and is about Trump and is about all these things I'm thinking about? And I think it ended up being a much stronger film because I let go of what it originally was. So that's more release.
More release and also problem solving, which is what you kind of brought us to in the beginning. Everything you're saying is I mean, we've all been forced. If we haven't done it already, we're lived that way already. We're forced to be problem solvers.
Absolutely, and I think it's so hard. My inclination always is to try and take back that control. To try and wrestle it back, even though I know that it is something that is outside of my control. And it's only when I'm feeling emotionally, mentally well that I have the ability to let that stuff go and to actually release and to recognize that stuff is out of my control, and that really, if I'm lucky, I can control perhaps the 12 inches around my feet and the space between my ears, but not often even that. So that's really good advice, and something that I think is a practice. That practice of letting stuff go is really important.
I think so too. Also, as well, just having the kids in the space where they're now home. So as an adult, it's like, what kind of example am I setting for them today? So if I remember my son at the beginning of COVID and the computer, it would just not connect. The bandwidth issue here, right? Everyone's trying to get on the computer, and he just broke down. I mean, it just broke down crying. So at that moment, I realized, what is the one thing that I could probably do to kind of help soothe him, to kind of keep him encouraged to, like, keep trying. And I was just like, you can do it, but you can do it. We can't control this. It was just teaching those lessons of, can we control the internet? No, we cannot. So if we log on, you don't have access, the next step would be to kind of like send a message to your teacher to let her know you're having trouble, and then you wait. So now you're kind of like removing yourself out of that, and you're no longer trying to, I'm going to break through, like a cyber attack or something. I'm going to break through, I'm going to break through. You can't do anything in that moment. And so for me also, I thought it would be a good lesson for all the kids to see how I react to certain things in these moments, and what they see from me, they can learn. Because if I'm just like, all over the place, they're going to be all over the place, and you don't want 12 kids all over the place, right? Including the adult. Yeah. So it's just those teachable moments, like, how am I going to get control really quickly of this situation so that I can be an example for them, and they learn how to control or problem solve, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and how are you going to model the way to behave when you can't solve the problem?
Absolutely.
It's like, instead of it being like, well, I'm either going to solve it or I fail. It's like, this is a problem that I can't solve right now, but I'm going to show you how to be okay with not solving it.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Our last question for both of you is, I consider both of you makers, in your own way. Mm-hmm. And actually, a lot of what you both shared has to do with your, thinking about how you react and relate to those nearest and dearest to you, like, those people and projects that are closest to your heart and to your goals. And so when you think about the word release in this theme, it can be thought of as allowing something to flow freely out into the world, to set something free. And as being creative spirits that both of you are, I want to ask you what it is that you would like to set free or let go into the world. Like, what would you like to release into the world as, on our time here on Earth? It's limited. You've got hopes and dreams and goals. What would you like to bring forward? What do you want to set free?
That's a loaded question.
I know, it's a big question. There's probably a long answer, but...
Go ahead.
You want to go?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay.
Jeff's ready.
Yeah, he's ready.
Well, that's a great question, and I think you can go a lot of different ways with it. But I guess I'll go the maker way because I was talking before we came on about this, that I feel a bit adrift when I don't have a creative project. Like it feels better to me to have something I'm working on. It's kind of like it's a daily practice. It's something to both take your mind off of things, but also it's therapy to process the things that are going on. So I was thinking about this question and sort of like, so what is it that I want the things that I put into the world to do? You know, like it's like that, if a tree falls in the woods and no one hears it, does it make a sound? Like I want my stuff to make sounds. I want it to connect with people. But what is it that I want what's that
Outcome,
connection? Yeah. So I'm going to try not to make this answer too dark, but I went to California this summer, and I did an RV trip around California. And I had this kind of 50-50 reaction to it. It was like exactly split. On the one hand, it was I felt so grateful to be able to see what I consider to be one of the most beautiful places in the world. And all of these people who live there. Just spectacular. And on the other hand, I felt like I may not get to see this again because it looks like it is dying. And so in that, I feel is what I want to release into the world. This idea that it's all like there's beauty in the natural world and in all of us, and we are destroying it. The way we treat each other, the way we're treating our planet, the window is it is closing.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I'd like to put out there, sort of like this expression of beauty and this strong warning.
Yeah.
So I hope that's not too dark. But
Not at all.
No.
Call to action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I think what I would like to release, or just to people to know me as, is just who I am, a multi-passionate, creative person. So, and I say that because some days I enjoy dancing. Some days I enjoy working with my hands and creating stationery and making cards. I also host a radio show. So it's just doing the things that makes me happy, that put a smile on my face. I can do all these things. I love doing all these things. And I think back to how society tells us you can't be more than this, or can't be more than that. And I feel you can. If it drives you, if it pushes you, if it's something that's in your heart that's speaking to you, that says, hey, you should be doing X, Y, and Z, do X, Y, and Z. No one should be able to tell you that you're limited to just one box or one line or one thing. So for me, I operate in all of my passions and everything that I'm talented in, and I just go full force with that. So I dance here. Not rap, but I rap someone's song. I'll rap someone's song, and I'll create, and it's just me. And it took a while for me to kind of like really get into that space of knowing, or just not knowing, but you're fighting with, again, what society says you have to fit in this box. And then it's like, no, but I don't fit in a box. I don't fit anywhere. I fit where I fit, It took a while for me to kind of get there. And I think that now that I'm there, I'm just free. I'm free to be me. Like, I'm not harming anyone. I'm welcoming. I provide energy, and that's just who I am. But it hasn't always been that way for me. So I'm here, I've arrived, and I'm going to keep going. And that's what I want to tell you too, that if that's something that's in your heart that you are passionate about, do it. And you don't listen to anyone else, you do it. Yeah.
Amazing.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And when people see you, Courtney, doing that, it gives them permission and inspiration to go and do that themselves.
Right.
And that's how I feel being around you, both of you. It's been such a pleasure to have you here. And and to see how things have grown and changed and evolved for you since your original talks and our original engagements with Creative Mornings. So thank you for being here.
Yeah.
So actually, our closing segment is a meditation. And it was a piece that I knew right away when the theme was going to be release, that I would want to include as part of our experience this morning. It gives me like an emotional, I'm having a bit of an emotional moment here because I'm having the opportunity to introduce one of my longest and dearest friends, Kimberly Dahlman. And she has been a big part of my life. And she's also embarking on a new adventure. And she's going to be moving from our beloved Seacoast to California in the next couple of weeks to pursue a career in acupuncture. So this is a bittersweet moment for me as I invite her to join the stage in just a minute to close us out with a meditation, because she's been someone who's been such a big part of our community. She founded Yoga East 20 years ago. It's the oldest Ashtanga yoga studio in New England, which is incredible. She's gathered retreats and people from all over to come and learn about yoga and meditation. And she's also my very, very dear friend. She did a meditation at my wedding. She was present at the birth of my first child, and she is my chosen sister. And so she is going to close us out this morning on the theme of release. Monty and I and the whole Creative Mornings PKX team and the Music Hall team, thank you for being here. This vibrant, beautiful community. Thanks to our panelists. Thanks to Mara. And now I cannot speak highly enough and with such an open heart introduce you to Kimberly Dahlman, who's going to guide us out on the theme of release with a closing meditation.
Thank you, Noelle. She made it a little emotional for me to start off this morning. Yes, I'm in the process of releasing, and I've been releasing for since I made the decision, so thank you, my dear sister, who's now behind me. I wanted to start with a reading, To Bless the Space Between Us by John O'Donohue. He's an Irish poet and a spiritual seeker. With respect and reverence, that the unknown between us might flower into discovery and lead us beyond. The familiar field blind with weed of weariness and the old walls of habit. So for me, meditation is a division between two places. It's a division between the past and the future. And when we think about being centered and fully releasing, we think about how to be in the moment. So that place is always, again, between two places. So it's very common for us to notice within ourselves a place that we prefer. And so as we go into this meditation practice and we ground ourselves into this moment and we work with the theme of release, know where your preference is. Do you prefer to be in this divided place, because most of us are, and the art of living a spiritual or contemplative life is to clear division, to clear separation. So it's a huge piece of holding ourselves and the world and each other. So I want everyone to take a moment and create space for yourself, just a place to ground yourself in your seat. If there's a device nearby, just put it out of reach. Make sure it's turned to mute. If there's a screen in front of you, move it off of your periphery vision. Let your eyes gently close or drop your gaze to the earth. And begin to entertain your body in this space as being between two things: the ground beneath you, the earth that's supporting you, and the heavens and space above you, opening. Physical body, head, neck, and trunk in line, and palms open in your lap as a gesture of receptivity. Take a clearing breath, moving the breath in through the nose. As the breath releases back out, let the physical breath drop down into your belly. Become aware of the space around you, the boundaries of walls, doorways, sounds, shadows and light, even the temperature of the air. Notice the space that you hold as a part of everything. As if taking a bird's eye view of your own physicality, move deeper into something called the Bhavana. It's a space of spiritual contemplation. It holds our presence of being and our relationship to ourselves and the world that we live in. And within this Bhavana, I invite you to create an intention, something that holds this space as a part of your way of living. And without changing, manipulating, or controlling your breath in any way, simply become aware of your next breath coming, balanced with awareness of your breath going. Awareness of the breath as it comes. Balanced with awareness of the breath as it goes. Awareness of the breath as it comes. Balanced with awareness of the breath as it goes. as you sit with yourself and your own being. Become aware of that ancestral lineage, our great devas, and the support that's around us. Become aware of your elder self, imparting that Bhavana. And with open palms, receiving as well as giving, balancing that natural flow of the breath coming and the breath going. A sense of ease, balanced by a sense of chaos. A sense of joy, balanced by a sense of sadness. A sense of holding and a sense of releasing. When we pause in the division, we liberate ourselves. Palms gently rising to meet at heart center. And this gesture of palms joining is our continued commitment not only to ourselves but the world that we live in. May there be no division or separation between us. May the space within us and the space around us be free of fear. And may we hold this space with great reverence for ourselves and each other. Rubbing the palms of the hands together, creating a warmth, a heat. And bringing your palms up to cover your face. With your eye gaze gestured down, allow your eyes to gently flutter open. Gazing into the palms of your hands. Karagre Vashate Lakshmi, Karage Maje Saraswati, Karage Mule tu Govindaha, Prabhate Karage Darshanam. Within the fingers lies Lakshmi, our abundance. We have everything that we need. In the palms of our hands lies our wisdom, our intuition, following each moment. And in the heel of the hands is Brahma, our wholeness, our connection to everything. Honoring that space. Namaste. So thank you from the PKX community.